Our next PAL speaker that we are hearing from is Jessica Oliver, and I'm a bit of a fanboy on Jessica. She's kind of the fairy godmother of SEO in our industry, and different than a lot of folks. She actually became an expert running her own practice and doing SEO, I think. So Jessica, give me a little background on you and your practice, and then we'll talk about the workshop. So how'd you end up doing this SEO GEO stuff?
So I started my practice in 2017 and it grew for a bit naturally. And then I realized I needed to do this marketing thing. We had people calling that just wanted to talk to me and not to my clinicians. So I started teaching myself at the time SEO and grew an SEO company that is now taken care of in the amazing hands of one of my employees. But I'm continuing to explore all the different forms of digital marketing. I've played around with a bunch of different things and found some stick better than others, but right now I'm loving trying to figure out as much as I can about the AIO, GEO, how to show up and be recommended by AI sources is working really well for my practice at the moment.
Yeah, that's why we brought you in, and we've for those that haven't seen Jessica through some of our semi-private practice stuff, she's already done a few workshops. People end up booking sessions with her directly because there's kind of this, I think, huge opportunity right now, gold rush in that space. And it's funny because I still say things like go Google that, but what that means for a lot of people now is I mean they just or bypass Google and go straight into ChatGPT or Claude and ask for restaurant recommendations and stuff like that. So tell me about the evolving use of AEO, GEO, what those things mean, and people finding therapists and therapists finding clients.
I don't think Google is going away. I think they still have a very important product and all of that. However, there's the small subset that's starting to look for more detailed recommendations on AI. And there seems to be this trust that people have with AI. After one of your talks, I took your advice and I ran the numbers and found that when somebody contacts us, having found us on AI, they are twice as likely to convert to a paying client
Wow.
if they found us on SEO. So while the majority of my practice does still come from SEO, we have this increasing segment that every month that's a higher number that are finding us on AI. But what I love is they're more likely to convert. And I think that's because when you're looking for a therapist on AI, you're not just saying like anxiety therapist near me. You're saying, hey, I'm looking for someone, for a therapist for my 15-year-old who has school anxiety and she'd do really a lot better with a female. And they're putting that kind of detail in there. So when they get a
Mhm.
recommendation, it's more tailored to their needs. And I think that they trust it better because as of today, this could change next week. AI typically doesn't have all the ads. And
Yeah.
we're just finding that right now, those leads that are coming from AI are really high quality leads for us.
I don't know that I've ever thought of it that way, literally, until you just said that. But we know that the conversions on referrals from somebody you know and trust are way higher than somebody that calls just in. It didn't connect the dots until my head about how much people actually trust AI in the same way that they would almost trust a trusted friend to make a qualified recommendation. So it makes sense that the conversion rate's higher. And that's a big deal too. As we've talked about in semi-private practice and stuff, lowering that admin cost per session. That's one of the big ways that practice owners can control their financial outcomes. More conversions on the same amount of calls lowers your scheduling cost. So that's a win. So what's the deal? I mean, do you go out and hire a GEO expert like people used to hire a SEO expert, or is it something practice owners can learn to do and implement themselves? Like, tell me about the landscape and the opportunity right now.
I mean, part of what I love is that I think we're still figuring it out. You look at optimizing for Google back in the 90s, and it's completely different than it is now. So keep in mind, I think we're still figuring out what it is. And I think all of us that are talking about it are doing so with the caveat of we're all learning together. And so practice owners, absolutely, if you're like me and you're excited about like, oh, I want to like try the different things, I think we can absolutely do this ourselves. But it is going to take time. It is going to take a lot of things. And so there are more and more people kind of getting into that space and playing around with it. But a lot of the other thing I love is a lot of the things that Google has been trying to improve its algorithm to look at. I feel like Google is, or like ChatGPT and some of these others, we're actually getting referrals from several different AI sources. They're figuring it out. They're figuring out how to truly look for experts and how to truly look for good content. And it's, you can do it yourself if you can put forth the effort, and then also being aware that you may kind of have to shift your strategy in a year or two. That's just, I think, going to be part of our process. But there's this
Yeah.
huge opportunity while not as many practice owners are doing it.
Yeah. Well, and one of the real ironies too, right? And we struggle to get our brains around this, but in trying to figure out how to use ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity to market our businesses, we can literally ask Chad or Claude or Perplexity how to market our business. Like the instrument itself will solve us. So give me one small actionable tip. We want to save all the good stuff for the workshop, but what's something practice owners can start tinkering with this week to try and show up in more search results on generative engines, answer engines, all that stuff.
Make sure that blog posts already on your website, you are adding an about the author section that has where you're located, where your practice is located, what your expertise is, and it's being really clear why you're an expert.
Mm.
Um, AI really cares about that you actually know your stuff and are qualified to speak about what you're speaking about. So those about the author sections are a golden opportunity that we're
So
under.
not just a byline written by Jessica Oliver. You want one of those ones at the bottom that's got the picture and the expertise and, about the author kind of thing.
Specialized training on this topic or has worked with survivors of sexual assault for 20 years or whatever it is that makes you qualified to speak about what you're writing about, or that is making more of a difference than it ever has, and
I love it.
pretty easy thing usually for us to do.
Great. Awesome. And so, of course, you're going to be at the conference and people can connect with you there. If anybody wants to reach out for help or anything outside of that, if they're just seeing this, is there a channel to learn from Jessica, follow Jessica, reach out to Jessica? What's the best way for people to interact with you besides going to palconference.com?
Right now, the easiest thing is to email me at jessica@aspirecounselingmo.com. And I'm doing a little bit on the side helping people individually, but we're um, we're just kind of exploring what people need right now.
Yeah, awesome. Well, excited to have you, Jessica. Like I said, I'm a huge fan for a long time. I think you're going to bring a lot of value to a lot of practice owners. So excited to have you. We'll see you in a few weeks.